Who are millionaires? Where do they get their wealth from? If you ever asked yourself these questions, you've come to the right place. The richest man in the world. Billionaires represent 0.0001% of humanity. In 1997, there were 140 billionaires, and in 2019, there were 2,153. It's known that in 2020, the number of rich people considerably increased, so the number of billionaires must have increased as well. 94% of billionaires only have $10 billion or less. 5% have between $10 and $30 billion. And 1% are the so-called mega billionaires that have over $30 billion. Half of the mega billionaires get their wealth from the technology sector. In 2017, the world's 8 richest billionaires had as much wealth as the poorest half of the global population. The same year, only Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates controlled as much wealth as the poorest half of the US population. How come they managed to accumulate so much wealth? Who became a millionaire before and who has become now? Throughout history, there have been extremely rich personalities. For example, there you go Tsar Nicholas II, who had an estimated net worth of $300 billion, or Mansa Musa, ruler of Mali, whose fortune was estimated at $440 billion. What was the secret to being rich? To rule a kingdom, of course. However, things changed and rich men stopped being rulers and became businessmen. The first one was the famous 15th century German banker Jacob Fugger, who was dubbed the Rich and worth $465 billion. The typical millionaire in suits that looks like Mr. Monopoly comes from the 19th century. One of them is John D. Rockefeller, who took over oil production with his well-known Standard Oil Company and built a $340 billion fortune off of it. Then there's Andrew Carnegie, who made his fortune from the steel, iron, and railway production and accumulated $310 billion. And finally Ford, who managed to get $199 billion from selling its T model. The common core of these three men is the production of material goods such as oil, steel, or cars. However, during the 21st century, things would radically change. The richest man in the world is Elon Musk with a $204 billion fortune. He built his wealth when he founded X.com in 1999. This company ended up merging with PayPal, so he got the 11.8% of this payment platform's stocks. As PayPal was sold to eBay, Musk earned $100 million that he invested in his famous SpaceX. This is the company he wants to reach Mars with. His electric car factory Tesla, and the Boring Company that aims at building high-speed trains and tunnels. Much of his fortune is due to his company's high-priced stocks, especially Tesla, whose stock was initially worth $17, but in 2020, it was worth $650. This is a 700% increase. Other members of the top 10 of the world's richest men are Jeff Bezos with $202 billion, who gets his fortune from Amazon. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp's owner with $142 billion. Sergey Brin and Larry Page, Google and YouTube's creators and owners with $124 and $129 billion respectively. The large concentration of millionaires in the technology sector is mainly due to the ability of the winning companies to gain big shares of the technology market in a short time and to use almost nothing of labor. 91% of all internet searches are made on Google. Facebook is the social network with the most users worldwide, and Amazon hits 49% of all online shopping worldwide. To round off the list of technological billionaires, we must name Bill Gates, who got his $152 billion fortune from selling the MS-DOS operative system for the machines produced by IBM, and then from selling the Windows operative system. Another remarkable rich man is Larry Ellison, Oracle's owner. This is a database he created at the CIA's request, and nowadays it's used by thousands of companies worldwide. Therefore, he has accumulated a $117 billion fortune and bought TikTok. It's pretty obvious that the time when the richest men got their money from the steel, oil, or car business is already in the past. Currently, you become rich on the internet, creating web pages such as PayPal and Amazon, or designing programs such as Windows or Oracle. Once the fortune is made, it usually grows through the stock exchange because all investors want to get stocks of these companies. The pandemic meant the loss of 255 million full-time jobs, and the extremely poor people are estimated to increase from 88 million before the crisis to 155 million people by the end of 2021. However, this doesn't seem to have affected rich people, who increased their zeros and accumulated more. Before the pandemic, there were around 50 million millionaires in the world. After the crisis, the number jumped to 56 million. For their part, the 20 largest fortunes in the world ended 2020 with 24% more than they had at the beginning of that year. This incredible boom is due to the fact that during the last 2 years, the price of stocks and houses has increased. Unlike most mortals, rich people don't live on their jobs but on the capital. This can be money as well as stocks, houses, companies, and copyrights on medicines or songs. This is why we never play a movie for more than 10 seconds on this channel. To sum up, capital is, apart from money, anything you can get more money from. The richer you are, the more you depend on your assets. That is your capital, and the less on your wage. That's the reason why some left-wing politicians want to tax wealth and not wages. It's known that the US middle income, who usually live on their wages, stalled between 1998 and 2016, and a similar situation is experienced around the world. This is because companies can now access the cheap labor's global market and won't even need it entirely because of the improvement in automation. As if this wasn't enough, the US's consecutive dollar printing lowers its value. Thus, the purchasing power of wages lowers as well. Millionaires don't depend on a wage that may run out due to lockdown. They have assets that, far from being devalued, go up in price, such as stocks and homes. Some say it's a kind of neo-feudalism, a new system where the rich ones have a lot and the rest can't cover their basic needs, let alone to own something other than Funko Pop toys. In Berlin, 85% of people pay rent, but that's even difficult due to the rise in property prices, a rise that benefits rich people. However, they aren't so mean. Many of them invest huge amounts of money in philanthropy, such as Bill Gates, who along with his ex-wife owns the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with a $50 billion endowment, aiming at expanding medical coverage and reducing extreme poverty worldwide. Warren Buffett donated $3.2 billion to philanthropic work in 2019 and started the Giving Pledge campaign with Bill Gates, where several billionaires pledged to donate at least half of their wealth. Individuals such as Michael Bloomberg, Larry Ellison, and George Lucas participate in the initiative. Even so, there are people who insist on raising taxes, whereas others maintain that they invest most of their assets in businesses, generating economic growth and jobs. So raising taxes will mean an obstacle in investment and an incentive for them to transfer their wealth to other countries. This is something that they usually do very easily through offshore companies that move their fortunes to tax havens, which are territories with sufficiently relaxed banking and tax rules. So much so that people from all over the world decide to keep their money there and prevent leftists in their countries from bothering them with more taxes. Due to how lame and boring it is to follow serious news about tax evasion, a whole mythology about rich people has been formed on social networks. Many accuse them of being extraterrestrial reptiles, especially Mark Zuckerberg, Illuminati, or worse. But one thing is true, billionaires can become a danger in the moderately near future. All of them are known to have privileged access to world-class medication and cutting-edge technology. According to some futurologists, the conjunction of these two aspects will soon cause Homo sapiens to evolve into a new subspecies, a technological Homo with all kinds of implements installed in their body. Obviously, the first ones to make the leap will be billionaires, This situation will become extremely dangerous because there will be an elite made up of an advanced species of the genus Homo, while the majority will continue to belong to the archaic species of Homo sapiens. That dangerous moment may well mean the domination of one race over another or their extermination. Like when the Homo sapiens took advantage of their benefits to exterminate the Neanderthals. Do you think humanity is ready to begin the transition to a more advanced species without rich people making the most of their temporary advantage? This has been a grim look at the still humans with more purchasing power. Do you want to know more? We have many videos of millionaires on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications. See you in the next video.